Hey everybody, how we doing?
Good morning.
Kicking and screaming.
Kicking and screaming, that seems to be the theme of the chat right now. So we have the full capacity here, 300 people in the room, very exciting to be able to be here with you and talk through this. Can I just get a thumbs up if so far you're enjoying CanvasPalooza? Is this a good thing? You like what's happening here? If you haven't learned it so far, obviously we're not talking about the basics of Canvas right now, but I want to encourage you that all of that is going to be coming in the next few weeks with your teacher planning. The purpose of this is we wanted to introduce you into some of the extra things, some of the fun things, some of the things that can really fit into your teaching as we move forward, whatever model that might be. Canvas is going to be able to support you in what you want to do and how you can do it. And so that's why I wanted to jump on to talk about doing a breakout in Canvas. And so I'm going to talk for a little bit about breakouts and that sort of thing. Then you're going to actually work through a breakout in Canvas. And then we'll come back and I will show you how I built some of those elements and give you kind of a step-by-step process. So then you can start to think about that as we go. So just either by using your reactions button or just giving me a thumbs up in your camera, how many of you know what a breakout is, or you've done a breakout EDU before? Let me scroll through my many pages here. We've got some thumbs up, we've got some no thumbs up. That's all right. So overall, breakout EDU is essentially bringing an escape box into your learning, right? And Breakout EDU was the first one to kind of coin it. You could buy the box and get all sorts of locks on it. So instead of breaking out of a room, students would break into a box, finding clues around your classroom based on whatever your lesson is and connecting to your objectives. And some of you have done that. Most of your schools probably have at least one breakout box somewhere in there. And your digital learning specialist is happy to talk to you about breakout and how you can do that. But then it evolved and breakouts became digital. And you have the ability to create digital breakouts using, at first it was Google Sites and Google Forms together. And then people started to use other tools. And so now what we can do is we can do that here in Canvas as well. I'm not saying it's the best way to do it. I'm saying if you want to stay in Canvas, we have that ability. If you want to do a digital breakout through Google Sites and Google Forms, do it. That's fine. But this is just an opportunity for you to do this. Now, I see it in the chat. Let me clarify. I'm not talking about breakouts in the sense of breakout rooms in a Zoom room where I'm going to put you in different rooms. I'm talking about an escape room. There's a challenge you have to complete. This is a game. Your job is to get out of the room, right? Or to get into the box, or to solve the questions, the problems, and complete the locks. And so we are going to be talking through that here a little bit. So let me just share my screen for a minute, because I do want to give you time to actually complete or try out the breakout first. So we are going to do the breakout. If you can complete the breakout experience today, you will earn this beautiful rainbow unicorn badge, breaking out of jail. Very exciting. And there's more information on badging in other sessions, as well as we'll have more training on creating badges later. So again, what is Breakout? And this is from Breakout EDU. Breakout creates an ultra-engaging learning games for people of all ages. The games teach teamwork, problem solving, critical thinking, and troubleshooting by presenting participants with challenges that ignite their natural drive to problem solve. So if we can take all that information, we could put it into our vocabulary lesson. We could put it into our lesson on Romeo and Juliet. We could put it into learning how to find the area of a triangle. You know, then you're bringing in a new element to engage your students in the learning. So if we think about gamification and game-based learning, if you're creating it in a game sense, it becomes more memorable. right? If we ask kids to memorize a list of vocab and tell it to us, yeah, they'll get it. It might take some time. But if you ask a kid to share the lyrics of their favorite song or what they did on Minecraft last night, they'll tell you every single detail about it. So we're just trying to create a more engaging learning experience through gaming, and we can do that face to face whenever that happens again, or we can do it here digitally in Canvas. So why would you use a breakout game? Again, it creates that experience, puzzles, competition, gaming in your classrooms. And it can be done, like I've said, in a physical classroom breakout box or digitally in many different ways. And so, like I said, we're going to be doing it here in Canvas. So I wanted to show just a quick overview of what you're going to see when you get into the Canvas course, and then explain some instructions, and then we'll go from there. So when you get this link, I'm going to put it in the chat here in just a second. You're going to come to this page, and you will see everything here. And I have a hook video, because there has to be a story when you're playing a game. And so you have a hook video here. Then you're going to click on this link down here, and it's going to take you to your first challenge. And it looks like this. And you're going to dive in, and there are questions to answer and activities to do in order to keep moving forward. You have to get certain scores to move on to the next step. So each challenge is its own lock that you have to complete. If you get lost, if you don't know where to go, you can click on modules on the left-hand side here, and that will take you, and you're seeing everything here because it's my course, but you won't see everything. You'll only see what you've opened up. So you can go back to, here's the welcome page where you'll start. Here's part 1, if that's where you need to be. You can see you have to score at least a 3 on part 1 to move forward. Don't worry, I didn't make it that hard for you because I want you to have the experience. All right? So if we come back here, and I am going to, in the chat, I'm going to drop this, this link here. And then we can start diving into this course. So you can stay on here in the Zoom room, but then go ahead and go into enroll in this course and just dive into it. And I'm going to put some music on, and let me get the actual course link too, just in case. We just want to double cover ourselves here on this. But I'm going to give you probably about 15 minutes to complete this, and then we are going to come back and I'll talk through each part and how I built it and what is being done here. So go ahead and enroll in that course and dive in. I'll put some music back on here, and you can start working through your breakout experience. All right, and if you have questions, feel free to just speak up or post them in the chat. I've got the awesome Andrea Gray here as my moderator, helping me with this as well. And so again, to enroll, you just click on the link and you should be prompted. Both links will take you to that, or copy the link and paste it into a new browser page in Google, do this. Okay, and this is supposed to be a challenge. It's supposed to go through it, so you can get on that first page, and then once you can watch the video and then click next to dive in on this breakout activity. Yeah, and if you can't click the link, you just need to copy and paste it into a new browser browser tab, and that will then add you to the course. Okay, so again, for those of you who may be in and out, copy that link and then dive into it and click next and go from there. And so I'll give you we'll go till about 10:20, 10:22 to work on this. So I'm going to share my screen and share that first page there to just be where we sit for the next few minutes. We'll get some.
Sorry, Taylor, didn't see the next.
Say that again?
I couldn't see the next button.
It's, you know, it's that link right at the bottom below
Oh,
the
it's the
video
link.
where it
Okay.
says click next. Yeah.
Okay.
Taylor,
Yes.
how do I just copy that and just put it on a different tab?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's not letting me do that. Okay.
Let's see.
Copy.
Taylor, this is Annelle Butler. I can't
Yeah.
click the begin, but I cannot click the button at the bottom of the first after I read through the math part. When I'm trying to click to begin the test, my screen keeps popping down. Like I'm on my phone. I'm in Colorado, so it's the best I have. But it won't let me begin the test. So when I pull it up to click begin, it's not allowing me to do it. It keeps popping back down. So I don't know how to begin the test.
That's interesting.
I can't get the link to work either, but I'm going to keep trying.
Let me look at the course here and see what we got going on.
Yeah, I can't get started as well.
Y'all need to scroll down the page. After the first quiz, where do we go?
So after that first quiz, you click return at the top, go back to the modules, and then start part 2 should be open for you.
Thank you.
Yep, when you're on that first quiz, you scroll all the way to the bottom to click that submit, and then you should get a prompt. And then you click the return and go back to the module to click part 2.
Oh, shoot.
How do we find part 2?
You need to click on, once you've completed the quiz, and if you've gotten the score correct, 3 out of 3, then it will open up part 2 under the modules. Click return on the top right if you're still in the quiz, and then go back to modules.
What are we supposed to answer for the second question on part 1?
Sorry, say that again?
What are we supposed to answer for the second question on part 1 where it says put in your answer?
So the second question, it says that it's a number lock. So you're using that picture to find the answer that is in a number in that picture.
Oh, okay.
I got it.
If you take it and get that answer wrong, that happened to me because I couldn't figure it out.
won't
It'll
open the
give
next
you
one.
the right answer for your second attempt.
Yeah, I was nice to you this time around.
Mhm.
So once you finish that first quiz, let me bring this over and show you. Once you finish that first quiz here, you're going to then jump up to the return button here at the top, and that will then take you back to the modules where you'll click on part 2.
I really don't get what the second question is asking.
I
Right.
don't either.
I don't get what the first question is asking. I really don't. I'm sorry. I'm looking
That's
at.
okay. That's okay.
No, it's not.
I
don't
yeah,
get the second one either.
The
It doesn't
second
make
question
sense.
is the one that's just getting me. We are not.
Can someone just tell me the answer?
Yes, please.
What's the first answer?
Look, okay, so if you look at this, here we go.
Okay.
It
We've
says
got the.
I can't even get the link to open.
I'm gonna give you all 5 more minutes, and then we'll talk through it. But if you look at it here, I don't know why the question had posted here, but you're looking for a number for
Right.
from
Yeah.
this image.
There's numbers down
Number.
there where it says people claim mask broken, but 3 different people. What 5 pets, 7 kids agree? Oh, I didn't. Okay, so I guess. Okay, let me go back then.
is that 11?
Put your
Way to go, Aubrey!
job.
Way to
That's
go,
good
Aubrey
math.
Otero, being the first one.
Oh my goodness,
Yes, sir.
making me nervous.
Oh,
How's it asking the question?
I'm in Zoom, baby. I'm
Yeah,
in Zoom.
that's an interesting problem there. I'm gonna have to look at that.
Okay, bye. Okay.
For anyone on part 2, does anyone know what L is? Because I'm stuck.
Line.
How do you get to part 2? I finished part 1 and then it took me to part 2.
So you got to go back to click return, go to the
I did.
modules, and then click on part 2.
There's no.
If there's no part 2, then you didn't score high enough to get your.
Well, I got 3 out of
you
3.
need to do.
I still can't get the link to open. I must be having a connectivity issue, but I'm
I
watching.
see.
Oh, okay.
With the elements. Okay, complete the quiz. Let's see here.
Got
What's
some
the
people that
answer
are
for
finishing
number
it.
2? Is it?
Awesome.
Taylor,
I
I
don't-
have a problem.
I don't get the question. I'm sorry. I'm
If you
just.
type
I
something,
don't either.
it'll tell you what the right answer is after you.
Right. This is the first time. You should give us the answer.
Taylor, I
It
clicked
didn't
on-
give me the correct answer.
Right.
All right.
Taylor, I
Here.
clicked
I'm on my
on
third
it.
attempt.
Here.
Good one is
All
hard.
right.
The answer on question number 2.
Mute everybody here for a second. We're gonna pause. I think we've got a lot of and lots of stuff that is happening. So let's take a pause and let's get back into this and see what can happen. I want you to take a second to think about this though. Look at the chat. Listen to what you just heard. It's just like when we do this with students, right? Because you're out of control. It's not straightforward. It's not just me as your facilitator, as your teacher, telling you exactly what to know, but you have to figure it out. Problem solving. We had good collaboration here for a little bit, okay? So I'm gonna take you through this. I'll take you through the breakout. We can all do it together, and then I'll take you through the elements and how to build them and what we created here. All right. So
You're muted. Taylor, you're muted.
I got muted. I did. You're right. Thank you. All right, so let's look at this for a second here. All right, so our first quiz. Now, I'm going to have to check out this bug on why the question didn't show up. But let's look at this here. So if I preview this, you can see that there's already clues that are on the screen once it loads. I've got too many people in there. Here we go. So you can see my story, it connects back to my hook. It's all connected there. So the first question is a hotspot question. Really, it says, thinking about elements, where's Waldo? So there's Waldo there. You click on Waldo. Make sure you're on Waldo to get that point. If I wanted to put other things in here, I could, and students would have the ability to click all around to see where everybody is at. But I'm going to click on Waldo right here. Now, the next question, it should say, look for the number. And so with that, you see the number. Someone read it for us here. We've got 4 people. We've got 4, 3, 5, and 7. So we just did that in order there. All right. And then according to current rules, we click the mask.
No, you need to
submit. And
to help you with crack.
and now you see I got 3 out of 3 completed here. All right, found it, shows the correct answer. All right, now if I wanted to go back, I am obviously in a preview mode, so it's a little different because I'm just previewing this quiz. But I'd click on return. That takes me to part 2, looking at your eyesight here. Now I'm going to preview this quiz, and you can see I've got a message here that's written. I've got this code, and I've got a number pad. So now you have to figure out the code and what it is and enter it here into the answer. So again, this is where we get into the creative gaming situation. And we're looking at not just giving the answer or rewarding it for one task. The first part 1 was rewarding it for one task. Can you find Waldo? Can you see the numbers in the message in a linear sense? Can you just answer the question outright? But if we're going to do this in a more expanded sense, we want to challenge them. There's got to be multiple levels. So you can see that in this image that I made, it says, can you figure out the code, question mark. All right, and I have a bunch of resources that help you make this for free. Then I put this here, consider this. So now we're thinking about, well, what could L1 be? Well, L1, that could be line 1. So if I go to line 1, letter 1, it's C. Okay, and then if I go to line 2, letter 1, A. Line 3, letter 1, Y, and so on and so forth. But that's not where it ends. I could have left it there, but I wanted to get more specific. So now I've got this number pad here. I have a bunch of letters. Now I need to create some numbers. So I need to find that code, and I've given you also a clue here of numbers floating. Not letters, but numbers, because some students might jump ahead and be like, oh, I found the code, boom. I'm gonna put the letters in. It's not gonna work. So all in all, once it's all done, the code becomes 638. All right, and I click submit the quiz, and it tells me that I got 1 out of 1 correct. Now, if I scroll all the way to the bottom, then I can click next, and that'll take me to the next quiz. Now, in this quiz, I've put a clue in an external page. So if I click on this into a new tab, I have GeoGreeting here, and it's going to load, and it's going to prompt. I click view, and now this message starts to formulate automatically for me. And you can see this is a cool one that uses Google Maps and buildings to create messages. So you can use this tool to make whatever you want. But it's slowly telling me the answer, and the answer is, wait for it, starts with a C. Can we guess? Canvas, because this is CanvasPalooza. And I need to have an exclamation point there. So if I come back to my question, and I could type Canvas in many different ways. I'm just going to type Canvas. I'm going to submit my quiz, and now answer 1 out of 1 complete. So now I can go to the next piece. And then you've done it, and I gave you instructions. I'm a Canvas breakout winner into the chat. And then if you click the next next one there, you can see on my module that it has the badge evidence there, and so on. All right, so I want to pause for a second and answer some questions, and then we'll come back to building that that experience. So what questions do we have on this?
Taylor, can you hear me? This is Laura Douglas.
Yes.
I was with you in the very last part, and I typed in Canvas with the exclamation point. Is that not supposed to get also correct?
Was it? So I might.
Said no.
There's ways. So then it should have said it with the exclamation point, but because there's variations that we can add. So if you did just Canvas regular, and that's something I'll show you how to do here in a minute.
I was just curious if I did something funny. Okay.
All right. Perfect. All right, so let's talk about how we built this, because we don't want to run out of time here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen again, but I'm going to do this actually in this course so you can then see the examples here. So you can see I've got the example module down here. So when it comes to these, you want to create the ability for students to move forward. So the first thing that we can look at, and I'll show you here in this module, is that when you edit the module itself, right, this module, can you discover the masks? If I edit this, you can see you can add prerequisites or requirements to the module. So I have that students have to complete all the requirements, and they have to move through the requirements in order. So that means that you have to do part 1 and you have to score a 3 in order for part 2 to be opened up. Okay, now there's other options too. I could set it that you just have to submit the assignment. You don't have to do the score, but I wanted it to be the score because I know I needed you to have everything correct in order to move on. If I wanted to, I could add a prerequisite that in order to get to this module, you had to do the welcome module first, but that didn't really make sense for us right now. Okay, so the first thing though that you would do is start to create your elements or your options here. So I'm going to do, I showed you 2 different versions of quizzes. The first one was a new quizzes. The second one was the original or the old quizzes. And so you have a couple of options to use here. So first off, we'll talk about new quizzes. New quizzes, and this was mentioned if you were in Trista's session, but new quizzes eventually will become the only quiz option for you to use. But as of right now, somebody's annotating my video, I did. As of right now, the ability to do new quizzes has to be in a different way. So if I'm going to create a new quiz, I need to go click on quizzes on the left-hand side. Now you're not going to see this on your video because you are a student in this course. So you're just watching this now, and you can replicate this in the future. But I'm going to click new quiz, and this is where I can pick classic quizzes or new quizzes. This is the only thing that you have to create outside of the module. Everything else, classic quizzes, all those other things can be created inside of the module. So I'm going to click new quizzes, and I'm going to click submit. This takes me to my first editing page. So I'm going to call this, part 1 breakout. Okay, I can designate how many points it's going to be. I can designate what assignment group it's going to fit under. We just want it to be under assignments. I can display the grade if I want. If you're wanting to use this just in general, we're talking about specifically breakout. All right, so a couple of things for breakout. I want limited attempts. I want 3 attempts, okay? And I'm not going to use any external tools. So then I'm going to click save. Now it will show bring me to my building stage. So now when I click the plus sign, I have all of these options to use. And again, you can use this as a quiz, but we're doing it for the sake of breakout. So the first one I'm going to choose as the Waldo one was the hotspot. All right, so I'm going to say find your DLS in this image. And I'm going to upload a picture that I'm using for my background, the Canvas landing page. All right, and now it says draw a hotspot, the hotspot shape. So I can use an oval, polygon, square. So I'm going to put, there's me, and there's Shelly. We've got to pick one. So I'm going to change my find Taylor. And then I can add a question stem. Okay. And so the answer is here. And then the options, we can add things. And those, again, are other elements for using new quizzes itself. I can add amount of questions. So let's just call this 1. And I'm going to click done. So now my first question is complete. Next, I click on this. I am going to do maybe a formula or a number option. There's lots of different tools. I'm going to use the numeric, okay? And so I'm going to say, what is the, I need a number. What is Taylor's office extension? All right. And then my exact response, which is very helpful, is 3926. All right, so that becomes the answer. Okay, I could add other possible answers. I can also change it if I wanted to have a margin of error, but for the sake of breakout, you want it to be exact. So I would need some other clues in here as well if I wanted to add that. So I'm going to click done on that one. Oh, I can't do that, the stem. So the stem, it could be a picture. It could be, think about office. Okay, so I click done on this one. Now I've got 2. And then I could add another one. I'll just leave it at 2 for now. And now this is all complete. I can preview it here and test it and then click return. So my hope is that when new quizzes gets added in, that's when the next button will start to show up. But for now, that's why we had to click return and go back to the modules to get to that space. But now the second step of this is I created this new quiz, but it's not in my example module. So I go to plus and I go to assignments. New quizzes live under assignments. And I'm going to click, there's my part 1 breakout. I'm going to click add item. And now it shows up. There it is. All right. Now I also used the classic quizzes. So I can click on in the module. Let me cancel this out. I click on the plus sign and I click on quiz. And I'm going to choose a new quiz and I'm going to name it part 2. And I'm going to add the item. And it shows up here in my module. And then I click on that. And it'll take me in. And now I can edit this quiz with the same sort of information. This is where I can put information of instructions. This is what types. Again, I wanted it to, I could have a time limit on it. I'm going to allow multiple attempts. I want the highest score, and I want only 3 attempts for this sake. You know, because if you can't figure it out in 3 times, then I feel like that's where I'm going to need to help you as a teacher, as a facilitator. Okay. Show 1 question at a time if I wanted. I wanted the whole thing. So I'm going to then come back up here and click on questions. It's very similar to the, click save, save this. It's very similar to the new quizzes setup. It just looks here. So I can click new question. Now I can pick some options here. It's not as many as the new quizzes, so the hotspot doesn't exist. You still have numerical answers and drop downs and things like that. And so that's when you start to get creative about what you could put here. So if it's multiple choice, if it's, so on the fill in the blank one, you know, if I said blank, or if I said Birdville, blank is awesome for hosting CanvasPalooza. Now, possible answers, I could say, I could think about it. I could say nest, I could say nest lowercase, I could say nest. You just have to put those options. Or I could say add answer in all caps. So now it should just come through as this answer. All right, and then I click save on that one. And now I can preview this quiz as well to see, here's my stuff once I published it. It's not published yet. All right, so we're going to go back and go to the next step here. Let's go back to our modules. All right, so in this, remember I talked about requisites and the rules. So I'm going to edit the module, and now I'm going to say add requirements. Students have to complete the requirements. They have to move through the requirements in sequential order. So breakout, they have to score at least a 4. Add requirement, part 2, students have to score at least, and I don't have any points in there yet, so I would just say 0, and then I would update the module. So now it's set to where it has to work this way, okay? I'm gonna stop sharing because I know I flew through that really quick. So this is gonna be recorded, and you can come back to it to see how this is done. The other piece that's in this module, actually, and I didn't show it to you, let me share my screen again and show it to you really quick. Because a big part of Breakout is how do you get creative about what to use? What works and what doesn't, as far as how did you create that eye chart? How do you create different things? In this module here, and I'm going to change my module to remove my prerequisite, so it's just there for you even if you didn't complete the breakout. This breakout resources piece, if you click on that, this is a list that was curated by some guys from Frisco. I learned about it at a Canvas user group, but it has all sorts of different tools that you can use to convert and create things for your breakout. So you could generate barcodes, you could change text from binary, you can encrypt messages into emojis. You've got lots of different resources here where you can get really creative. Create a fake newspaper clip, create a password protect link, all those types of things to use. So this is a really helpful resource to be able to use when you're creating your breakouts. So let's stop there. We've got about 5 minutes left, 5-6 minutes. I know that I put a lot in there. Somebody mentioned it would be fun with older kids. Absolutely. You could also make this really fun for your little ones, your young ones as well. You could just put more pictures in your answers. And you might use Google Forms maybe instead, but you could create it all and embed it into your Canvas course and have the breakout there. So any questions on doing a breakout, what a breakout is, what you might use this for? My first suggestion is if you want to do a breakout, choose the subject or the curriculum or the piece of your teaching that you least like to teach. Find the thing that makes you the most frustrated and put that into a breakout. Because if it's frustrating for you, then your kids know that then it's frustrating for them. So then that would allow for some fun to happen and allow for some ideas to be able to be shared and completed. So, Michelle, that's a great question. What happens if a student uses up all their attempts? You're gonna have to gauge that. What's gonna be your response? If a kid comes through and says, I can't attempt it anymore, you can go back in and eliminate their attempts and get them back into it, or set the attempts for higher, for more attempts if you'd like. You can also set it just for unlimited. They just have to do it until they get the highest score possible. And then in your prerequisites, you would set it for they have to score, like if I had a 10-point quiz and I said you can have as many attempts as you want, but you have to get 10 points. Then they could just keep doing it over and over and over again until they would actually submit it. So yes, Cecilia, there are some pre-made breakout games. Let me pull that link up here. I'll add it to the Canvas course. Breakout sandbox. But I'll post it here in the chat as well. Now these are done through Google Sites and through some other websites here. But here, if that link is a link to other pre-made games that you can play. The caveat is that they don't give you the answers. So you're gonna have to play the game before you can actually know what the right answers are on that. But it does give you some good examples of what it looks like to have, to create a breakout game in other platforms other than Canvas. So I'm going to add that link to this resource breakouts to the Canvas course as well. So then you have access to this page as well. So it's now in there. We also have the Canvas Commons might have some breakouts as well that you could find there for you. So other questions that you have on this activity and what you could do with this. Like I said, this is something that you could evolve in your class. It could start small, it could grow big. Think about if you used, different tools or different spaces, have your kids create breakouts for each other using Google Forms and maybe Google Sites, and be able to do it that way. The resource list is posted in the Canvas course here under our Breakout Canvas course. If you go to modules, you'll scroll down. It has the presentation that I showed you, as well as the resources and the digital breakouts links there. So you can have that ability to connect and dive into all of that stuff there. Okay. All right. Well, that's all I have. Feel free to stick around if you have more questions. Thank you guys for playing and for being a part of it. And reach out to your DLS if you have more questions on bringing this into your classrooms. Lots of fun. We'll see you all at 11 o'clock for the next sessions. So take a break, stretch it out, and come back and we'll have some more fun.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Taylor, so when you're given the quizzes and when the kids are taking the quiz, does it show which answers are wrong?
You can set it to where it shows the answers that are wrong, or you can show it to where it doesn't. So if you wanted to have them do the quiz over and over and over again, you can have it just be marked wrong and not have the answer shown. And so then they still have to just figure it out.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Hey, Taylor.
Yes.
How do you break the students out into groups where they can work in groups on different discussions?
Yeah, so that is going to be something we'll cover next week on in the teacher trainings about creating groups in Canvas and doing things like that. So we'll get to that.
This breakout is just breakout as in activities for them to work.
This is just the game, creating an escape room, a breakout room. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. It was a good job.
Sure.
Taylor, this is Jan. May I say something?
Yes, go for it, Jan.
I am having trouble. I got to the very, very first breakout and completed that, but I never got to the second one where everybody's saying I'm a Canvas breakout winner.
Yeah.
I didn't never get to that. I couldn't find it.
So after the first quiz, did you see that you got 3 out of 3 correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so then in the top, there is that return button.
I went to that.
Yeah, and so then on the modules, do you see part 2?
No, it kept sending me back to the original one over and over. Every time I got 3 out of 3 and I would return and then it would take me right back. Let me.
You wasn't looking at
click on modules on the left-hand side.
Okay, let me try to get this smaller and go back to that.
Taylor, I never understood your answer to that. How to figure that out.
To the second question?
Yeah.
So it was the L1, L2, that gave you a code to find the letter in the message up top. And then with that letter, you use that on the keypad to find the number you're supposed to put in.
Okay, Taylor, do I have to go to do this to get, because I'm just I can't find it. So am I still going to get credit for attending this?
Yes, you will get credit. You didn't have to break out to get credit. You're just
sorry. I'm trying.
You're good. The other thing too, and I forgot to mention this, and we'll send out a message too, to be sure to go on the schedule at the bottom is a reflection and attendance sheet. Click on that and fill out your piece to be able to get attendance for this. Jan, what page are you on right now in the breakout course?
Okay, let me go back to it. I already took out that window. I'm trying to find it. How would I get back to it?
Because you enrolled in it, it will be on your dashboard.
Yeah, so I need to go back to the dashboard. Okay, I'm gonna have to start over because I X'd out. I was getting so frustrated, I just X'd out. So how do I get to the dashboard? Just go to Canvas again?
Yes, in Canvas on the left,
Okay.
it should take you to see where you see all your courses there.
Yeah, and it kept saying, you are already enrolled in this course. You're already enrolled in.
Yep.
Okay,
So you'll
let me
see
go
that on your
back to it.
dashboard.
Canvas Breakout, okay, I'm there.
Now on the left-hand side, do you see the word module?
Yes.
Click on that.
Okay.
And then scroll down and you should see part 2.
How is your eyesight?
That's the second question.
Yay, so I can do that one. But now everyone's saying it was so hard, the LLL something. Is that gonna be on this one or is it on the final challenge?
That's on that one, and that's why we want you to figure it out.
Okay, I'll do my best, thank you.
Sure. Let's see. Other questions? All right. Then I'm going to close this room down, and we will get the new one open for our next session for 10 o'clock or for 11 o'clock. So thank you all so much, and we'll see you in the next session.